So first I'm going to show you how to disassemble the air cartridge, oil the O-rings, and then reassemble, because we recommend that before you fire the first shot out of your Goblin Solo micro launcher, that you oil the O-rings for best performance. To disassemble the air cartridge, the first thing that you need to do is remove the barrel. Set it aside, and we're going to take the end cap off of the air cartridge. You'll notice at the top there is a knurled cap that unscrews, and it reveals a flat rubber washer. Leave that there for now, and we're going to remove the end cap. The end cap unscrews in the same manner, and on the end cap you will see that there is another O-ring on that end cap. Inside the air cartridge there is a spring. Be careful you don't lose it when you take it apart. And there is the valve assembly. The valve assembly has two O-rings on the back side. There is a threaded valve cap that comes off. Now this is the part where you need to be very careful. Do not disassemble the valve assembly in the parking lot or at the field over the gravel, the sand, the grass. I highly recommend you use a tabletop, or do what I do when I'm at the field and take an old white towel that the wife doesn't need anymore and lay that out on your picnic table, workbench, or pickup truck tailgate before you disassemble the little pieces. Inside you will see that little spring. If that spring falls in the grass or in the gravel, you're never going to find it again. Inside the valve stem there is a tiny little pin, and I need to find something here to pop that pin. I'm just going to reach over here, out of the camera's range, grab a pen, and push out the little valve pin. This is another little part that you do not want to lose. On that pin you will see that there is a tiny, tiny little O-ring. This is where you start the lubrication process to make sure that everything will seal up nicely and you'll get a good solid charge and the best performance out of your air cartridge. Put a little drop of oil onto that O-ring, then reassemble back into the valve cap. You want to make sure that the pin seats in the opening. Take the spring, put it back inside the base of the valve stem, hold it upright so you don't lose the spring, reassemble the valve, and at this point put a couple drops of silicone lubrication on the rear O-rings, put them into the base, set that down, put a drop of oil on the rear O-ring, put the spring over top, put the valve body or the air cartridge body back on, a little bit of pressure. You got to get that valve stem seated in the front of the cartridge assembly. It takes a little bit of wiggling at first, but it will go in. And before you get that rear cap screwed in all the way, put another little drop of oil on that top O-ring. You can now thread on the cap, but don't tighten it down all the way yet. Go about halfway. Now finish threading the rear cap all the way until it's finger tight. Now thread the cap down. You'll also notice that there's two O-rings on the outside of the cartridge body. That is for the friction fit for the barrel. They don't require lubrication as often as the inner O-rings. Sometimes if you lubricate them, you will find the barrel slips off too easily. Make sure they're clean, they're not cut, they're not nicked, they're in good condition, but they don't need to be lubricated. You want a fairly snug fit, but you still want the barrel to come off nice and easy. Now we're ready to look at the barrel, and that will be video number 2.